Seniority is taken very seriously.
Yes.
And therefore, there is no consultation you'll be doing with the CJ and DCJ without the other judges. We take decisions together. So I just want you to have that in the back of your mind, because it's very different from the Court of Appeal. But if you come, you will see what I mean. I'd like to go to the issue of the need for judges of the Supreme Court to be considered to be impartial, to be considered apolitical. I've been in the court now for 15 years, and occasionally people will remind me that I used to be a member of parliament, even though that was 19 years ago. And as a judge, there's a certain way you have to engage to completely keep away, to ensure that people see that you're impartial and apolitical. I was looking at a date here. Let me be very specific. So on August 23rd, 2023, you were in Mandera, and you were on a platform in a public place where you said these exact words: "But I know when I retire from the judiciary, I want to be governor here." The governor then followed up and confirmed, "Yes, when I finish my term, Justice Warsame will be the next governor." Now, if I, Njoki Ndung'u, was to go out there as a Supreme Court judge and say in a public place that I will be the next governor of Nairobi, I can assure you it will have impact not only on myself, but on the court, because we are the last court, we are the political court, and therefore we have to be very careful with what we say. But now that you said it, do you have political ambitions? And is this something we have to worry about in the court?
If you listen to me, that it was not, first of all, the 23rd August 2023. It was somewhere, I think, in December, and we were in the company of the Chief Justice.
She didn't say anything. I'm asking you what you said.
Yes, and this is the answer. And it is within the right of judges to make certain comments, provided it doesn't affect their responsibility as judges. And I said, when I retire from the judiciary, I didn't say I'm coming to be a next governor. And you know, the governor of Mandera said, after I retire, and that is 2032. So there's no problem. Maybe I will want maybe one day to become a governor of Mandera if my people call me. But that will not affect my responsibility as a judge, and it has never affected my responsibility. And the judge, take it to the bank. I am the most impartial judge. I have an impeccable character in terms of integrity and in terms of impartiality. If you see my GSC file, yes, it is so thin. It has only transfer letters.
If we can just refocus.
Yes.
You see, Judge, my worry would be this. We are the Supreme Court, we are the final court. We get, for example, hypothetically, a petition involving the governor's election in Mandera. Because of your comments, will you sit out that matter? You've just repeated it, actually. You've even said you are still interested in being in politics. I hope you're understanding my concern.
No, I didn't say I'm interested in politics.
What did you just say?
I said when I retire from the judiciary, I may. That's the word I used.
So you're still showing some kind of interest in politics by that statement?
You see, it is always good to show aspirations as a human being. You must be hopeful that one day, even when you retire, you can become something else.
But can a Supreme Court judge make such a statement?
I'm not a Supreme Court judge now, but when you give me that opportunity, I will decide what I will make within the confines of the Constitution.
Okay. So that is one thing I was concerned about. And the video, I watched the video last night. I was quite surprised. The second one goes to issues of judicial temperament. Now, in the Supreme Court, again, the way we engage each other, as a court, we listen to very controversial cases. We have to engage each other collegially. We have to show each other respect. And so certainly judicial temperament is important. The other thing that is important is the issue of conflict of interest, that one should be able to state if they have a conflict of interest and avoid being engaged in anything that they would have a conflict of interest. So there is an interview that you conducted, and let me see if I got the date right, April 19th of 2021. You were in the Judicial Service Commission as a commissioner, and you were interviewing Justice Matthew Ndumandere. In that interview, which again is televised, you were involved in a discussion with a judge, and you were pressing him to make a comment regarding a judgment of the Court of Appeal. The judgment you were pressing him to make a comment on was an appeal of his own decision. And his own decision was a decision that overturned a decision of the Judicial Service Commission, and it is a decision that you were involved in. So, when you were having a back and forth with a judge, he kept on saying, but judge, you were involved in this decision. But judge, you were involved in that matter. But not once did you say, yes, I was involved in that matter, and drop it, maybe allow another commissioner to ask the question. So even in terms of conflict of interest, so you're conflicted, you're asking the judge in an interview about a decision you're clearly conflicted about, and even when he raises the issue, you still continue to ask about it. What do you have to say about that?
I want to say I didn't intend to offend my colleague. The judge is my colleague in the Court of Appeal. I didn't in any way want to be malicious against him or anything. This is a very contentious matter, as you know. And even the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has settled the issue.
Yes, I know.
But at the time of the interview, the Supreme Court had not settled the issue. But you're asking the judge, I mean, you know, we talk about judicial independence. You're asking him to explain himself about a decision he made. But the decision he has made involved a decision you had made. It's direct conflict of interest.
Maybe, Judge, is the way you look at it. I didn't question his decision. I questioned his words against the sitting Chief Justice, against the fellow colleagues, judges, like myself. And I told him, if you can read the document and correctly, was it right for me to say, as a judge sitting, to criticize my Chief Justice? And that's what I was asking. I didn't ask him about whether he had a conflict or not. I asked him whether he had used the appropriate words against the Chief Justice and colleagues.
But you know, you can imagine a person who is neither you or me, who was watching such a video and is aware that this judge has overturned a decision you have made, and that you are interviewing him on that same decision. You know, I think they would raise the issue of conflict of interest that you did not declare, and perhaps you should have.
Maybe on recollection.
Okay. Further to that, there is another matter, again, another video of you interviewing the former Justice Ojwang. I believe that in 2016, the interview was on in September 15th, 2016. And you were also having, you were talking to each other. And I have two questions. One, you told the judge that he had been found culpable of misconduct. And your back and forth went until Justice Ojwang said, "Give me a break." And then he looked at the chair of the commission and said, "I need protection from this particular commissioner." That video, if you look at the comments, they say there was a heated exchange between the two judges. Some people think Judge Warsame was bullying Justice Ojwang. Other people think that Justice Warsame must have a personal vendetta. But apart from the description that it was, a combative interview, again, when you asked Justice Ojwang about the fact that he had been found culpable of misconduct, again, it went to a decision of the Judicial Service Commission, which was in court at the time. So the matter was sub judice. So, and you didn't mention that. So how do you bring up an issue which is sub judice